Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel Viz Artist. In this video, I'll explain you NCRT Class 7 Geography Lesson number 2, which is Inside Our Earth. So let's have a look at the various topics. Layers of Earth. Now, all of us know that Earth is not just a single mass, it has various layers, like an onion. You must have observed an onion, it has various layers. In the similar manner, Earth also has various layers. Now, let's have a look at these various layers. The topmost layer is called the crust. It is the thinnest layer of Earth, means compared to the other layers, it is extremely thin. It consists of continental and oceanic mass. Now you must be wondering that what is continental and oceanic mass? Continental mass is the mass which is the continents, the large lands. The large lands you must have seen. You must know the large lands which are there. Those are called as the continental mass. And the oceanic mass is the large water bodies we call as oceans. So I am hoping that you are clear with what is continental and oceanic mass. Now let's have a look at little bit brief about continental mass. Continental mass is 35 kilometers deep. So what is the depth of it? 35 kilometers. But the oceanic crust or the oceanic mass, you can say it's both the same. Continental crust you can either say, or you can say continental mass, you can say oceanic crust or oceanic mass. Okay, so the continental mass is 35 kilometers deep, but the oceanic crust or the oceanic mass is 5 kilometers deep. So there is a huge difference between the depth of continental mass and oceanic crust. Now we're not talking in oceanic crust, don't get confused because this can confuse you. It is not from the top of the oceans, means the sea level. We are not talking about from the sea level. It's just the crust below. The crust below which is there, the ocean floor. We are just talking about its depth. Okay, we are not talking about the complete sea level. This is not there. Only the seabed. The seabed, we are talking about its depth. We are not talking about any other things. So don't get confused between that. Okay, now let's see what is the what does continental mass consists of. It consists of Cl. Now what is Cl? Cl is simply the mixture of silica and alumina. Then why do we call it Cl? Because the chemical name of silica is Si and the alumina is Al. These are the chemical symbols. You must have learned about these. So when we join these together, look, if we join this together, so Si and then Al. So what do we get? We get Cl. So that is why we call we say that the continental mass consists of Cl in short. Okay. Then the oceanic crust, it consists of Cymar. Now what is Cymar? Silica and magnesium in the similar way. So Si for silica and Ma for magnesium. So what is the difference between what is the difference between the consistence, means what does it consist between continental mass and oceanic crust? It is that continental mass consists alumina and oceanic mass consists of magnesium, and silica is common between both of them. Let's move on to the next layer, which is mantle. Now you must have heard of mantle. Mantle consists of molten magma, and it is because of the molten magma in the mantle which causes the eruption of volcanoes. So we just learned, simply we can say that it extends up to 2,900 kilometers below the crust. So it's one of the thickest layer. Okay, it's one of the thickest layer of earth. Now also We also know that mantle consists of molten magma, and this molten magma causes the eruption of volcanoes. Now let's have a look at core. Now there are two cores. There are two cores, the inner core and the outer core. But together, let's study them as just core. It is the innermost layer of Earth. So it is located in the center. Now it consists of knife. Now what is knife? It is not the knife you use. Okay, it is nickel and ferrous. Nickel is another mineral which chemical symbol is Ni, and ferrous is simply iron. It is the chemical name for iron. You can see over here, it is the chemical name for iron. So Ni and Fe, which forms knife. Okay, I hope you're clear that why do we call it knife and what does it consist of? Ferrous and nickel. The central core is very hot and has high pressure. Means it is a lot of pressure, high pressure, and it is very hot that you cannot stay in it. You will just melt and you will just turn into ash. You will vaporize if you try to go to the core. It's extremely hot. So you can have a look. This is the diagram. So if we'll have a look at the diagram, then the crust, it's the topmost layer you can see. Then there is the mantle, and you can see that it is very thick compared to the other layers. This mantle is thick. Then there is the outer core and inner core. We studied them together as core. Okay, we studied them together as core. Okay, so you can simply call this two, both of them as core, or you can separate them as outer core and inner core. Now, so let's have a quick recap. Crust. The crust has two: continental, oceanic. Continental is 35 kilometers deep and oceanic is 5 kilometers deep. Continental consists of Cl, which is silica and alumina, and the oceanic consists of Sima, which is silica and magnesium. Let's study about mantle. We studied that it is really deep. It is one of the thickest layer, and it has molten magma which causes the eruption of volcanoes. Outer core and inner core we studied together as core, and we studied that it is the central part. It is the central part. It is very hot. This inner core, the center part of core, or we can say inner core, is extremely hot and has high pressure. And we also learned that these contains of knife, which is nickel and ferrous or iron. Okay, let's move on to rocks. Now, rocks. This is our next topic. We learned about the layers of Earth. Now, let's learn about rocks, the different types of rocks. So, here is a geo which will make you understand the different types of rocks. The first is igneous rocks, second is sedimentary rocks, and third is metamorphic rocks. Let's study in deep about these types of rocks. Igneous rocks. These are also called as primary rocks. And now let's have a look at the formation. So these are formed when molten magma cools down. So this is a diagram which will make you understand. Okay, intrusive igneous rocks cool quickly, and as a result these rocks are fine grained or has lacks of crystal growth. Intrusive igneous rocks are formed from magma that cools slowly, and as a result these rocks are coarse grained. So you can see that there is a magma chamber and it erupts and these cool down. Now we will study ahead about intrusive and extrusive. So simply this in this process you can call, when molten magma cools it becomes solid. Rocks thus formed are called igneous rocks. So in this process when igneous rocks are formed we call them means the rocks which are formed during this process are called igneous rocks or primary rocks. Now there are two types of igneous rocks, intrusive and extrusive. Intrusive igneous rocks are formed inside the earth, while the extrusive rocks are formed when molten magma cools down on the earth's surface. So Intrusive rock, from the word you can understand, in means inside. When they are cooling, means inside the volcano, the magma doesn't turn into lava or it does not erupts. It is inside only, and the magma cools down. The magma cools down, then only we call it as intrusive. And when it comes out, becomes lava, means you must have learned that when magma comes out it becomes lava, or it is called lava actually. So when lava cools down, simply you can tell lava cools down, extrusive rocks are formed. So this is the definition of intrusive and extrusive. And also you can see that extrusive rocks are fine grained and intrusive are coarse grained. Now let's learn about the second type of rocks, which is sedimentary rocks. Rocks roll down, crack, and heat each other and are broken down into small fragments, or you can say from small particles. These smaller particles are called sediments. So, what are these small particles called? Sediments. These sediments are transported and deposited by wind, water, etc. These loose sediments are compressed and hardened to form layers of rocks. These types of rocks are called sedimentary rocks. Okay, so sedimentary rocks. So how are these formed? Okay, so there are rocks, they roll down. You must have seen in some movie scenes or somewhere that rocks roll down, they crash, hit each other, and are broken down into small particles. These small particles, what are these small particles called? They are called sediments. And these sediments or these small particles are transported by wind. Means when wind blows, they also blow along with it. And water flows when water flows, these sediments come with it and get transported from one place to another, and etc. There are other factors that move these sediments. When these sediments are compiled together, they get compressed by the above layers and harden. They get compressed by the layers above, because this making of layers is continuous. So when the above layers are a lot, the layers below cannot take the weight, it is so heavy, so they get compressed and they harden to form layers of rocks. These rocks are called sedimentary rocks. Sedimentary rocks means made from sediments. Okay, and these sometimes these sediments, when they are flowing, they get mixed with dead and decayed material, shells. That's why that side is like you can see shells also on the layers of these rocks. Now let us understand about metamorphic rocks. These are really simple. You must have heard of metamorphosis in the life cycle of a frog. The same over here. Igneous and sedimentary rocks change under great heat and pressure to form metamorphic rocks. So when igneous and sedimentary rocks are compressed, maybe they are buried due to earthquake, when they get heat and pressure, when they get buried, they get heat and pressure and they change. Their molecules change, their chemical composition change, and thus they result in metamorphic rocks. Now let's have a look at uses of rocks. Rocks you must have seen in day-to-day lives. First of all, you must have seen your mothers preparing paste or powder of spices. Nowadays, actually, we use mortar and pestle, but before you must have seen the rocks, grinding rocks for making paste powder of spices and grains. And you must have heard of that chakki, which is used to grind the wheat flour. So that is also a type of rock. The hard rocks are used for making roads, houses, and buildings. Also, the hard rocks, these rocks are used for making roads and buildings also. Also, houses, you use stone in many games, for example 7 stones, hopscotch, etc. So you must, if you'll observe that you actually use stones in your day-to-day life games also, like stones, which is 7 stones, which is a game called pittu, and there's a hopscotch, which you must know, stapu or kit. So you use stones in these. Now let's have a look at the next topic, which is minerals. Rocks are made up of different minerals. Minerals are naturally occurring substances which have certain physical properties and definite chemical composition. So this is simply the definition that minerals are the substances that naturally occur, and they have some certain chemical properties and some certain physical properties. So it does not change. If that changes, then it becomes into a different mineral. Minerals are very important to humankind. Some are used as fuels, for example, coal, petroleum, natural gas, etc. They're also used in industries such as iron, aluminium, gold, uranium, etc. In medicines, in fertilizers, etc. So you can understand that minerals are simply the substances which occur naturally. We don't make them, they are not man made. You must have learned in this lesson number 1, our environment, that there are three components of the environment: natural, man made, and human. So the natural minerals are the part of natural, okay, natural part of the environment. Now minerals are very important. Okay, the gold which your mother wears, okay, the steel or the iron used for making the utensils is a mineral. The petroleum or the coal which you use as fuels are minerals. So you can by this understand that minerals have various uses. Also fertilizers and in medicines also various minerals are used. Now let's understand rock cycle. One type of rock changes to another type under certain conditions in a cyclic manner. This process of transformation of the rock from one to another is known as the rock cycle. So now you must have heard about the life cycle. Rock cycle is somewhat similar to what we can say rock cycle. So in life cycle, what happens? It is born, it goes through some stages, and then again it reproduces. This keeps on going. The same happens when the primary rocks are formed. I will show you one diagram which will help you understand. Look, through magma, the igneous rocks are formed, and these igneous rocks means they break, they crash to each other, and they turn into sediments. Sediments turn into sedimentary rocks, and sedimentary rocks and igneous rocks change into metamorphic rocks, and metamorphic rocks under heat and pressure turn into magma, as magma is molten rocks only. Again magma turns into this, and sedimentary rocks also turn into magma, igneous also turn into magma under heat. Now these sediments also turn into magma because they are also actually igneous rocks. So you can see that this keeps on happening. Sedimentary rocks also turn into sediments because they also crash with each other. They also turn into sediments. Also metamorphic rocks turn into sediments. So you can see that this is a cyclic process. So this cyclic process of one rock turning to another is called as rock cycle. So this is it. It's a really simple chapter. If you see, it has really small easy concepts. The first one is layers of earth, then there is rocks, types of rocks, minerals, and then there is rock cycle. It's very easy. Just revise it, you'll understand. Thank you. Bye bye. Hope you liked this video. If you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye bye.